On my way back to Ohio, we had a pretty decent day. At the office, we were second, and we still have a horse tonight. We were second with Memory and Imagination, and a good qualifier from Spitfire overseas. A very revealing qualifier with him. I found him much better today in his qualifier. A little rickety at the gate. Following, he was great, finishing up his mile. I still felt a couple little wrinkles in him. Tim had Dr. Stanek go over him afterwards. Thought his feet were sore. They're hurting him a bit. This has always been a thing with Spitfire. When he was 2 and 3, he wore flip-flops off and on. But we found with the flip-flops on, he would chew at himself behind, interfere a little bit. And it made it tough to get him off the car and to put him in gear right away. When you got him up into gear, he would go. But that snap speed, he would make the odd break. He would get out of gear, and it would cost him. Sometimes. So he had got away from the flip-flops and just worked hard on his feet. Stacy and Brett did a great job with him working on his feet throughout all of last year. But tracks have been very hard lately also. And I just felt that he was just stinging a little bit. Now when Dr. Stanek tested him, he thought that he was sore on the inside of both front corners. So we are going to switch him to a set of mushroom bars just for a little while. I don't feel that there'd be a full-time application with these. Again, that'll be up to Tim and the vet. We'll race him a couple of times on those shoes, assuming that he trots well in them. It will be a week-by-week basis. If his feet are coming really well, we can switch him away from them and back to normal shoes. But first and foremost, get his feet under control. They may need injected, I don't know. Again, that'll be up to Tim and the vet. But we'll switch his shoeing up front, and I think he'll be just fine. Spitfire is a good horse, and anytime you can take any level of discomfort out of their racing, it obviously cleans up their gait and puts them in a much more confident frame of mind. So I expect good things from Spitfire moving forward. Then we raced Memory and Imagination. Now after the race, his feet also tested quite a bit sore. He is another horse that wore flip-flops his whole life. Not a great track to be putting flip-flops on, and not a great season to be doing it either. So I posed the question quite bluntly and straightforward to Tim and the vet. Do you think we need to move to a set of flip-flops? And both said no. They believed maybe injecting his coffin joints and blocking his feet may be more than enough. And as far as the shoeing change goes, I think this will be the same type of thing. We'll treat him, keep his shoes as is, treat him, see how he races next week. If I don't see a huge improvement and definitely a higher level of comfort, then I think then we can start moving towards maybe a shoeing change of one kind or another. In regards to his race today, I could see what was happening leaving the gate. Same thing. And this is indicative of horses with sore feet or any sort of soreness. Watch them coming off the car. I didn't do a good job of that last time out, and he made a break. This week he got away well. Didn't get away well, but he got away okay. I could see everybody ducking. They were going to line up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 2, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I could see that Ronnie was going to have his way with the field. I figured we were up to the quarter around 28 apiece. And then at that point, Ronnie was just going to tap the brakes. Say's at the half in 58-2. I'm sitting 6th. I'm at the half in 59. And I know he trotted a big half last week, but I just thought if I pushed the tempo, I would force Ronnie to let me go. And at that point, Memory's, he's a pretty durable horse on the front end. But again, I think you could see him a couple of times in the last turn, get out of gear, clearing to the front, get out of gear, and I can almost see him a little head nod to him also. So I think his feet are hurting him quite a bit. And watch and see if there's quite a difference next week in him. I would suspect there will be. Cleared to the front, got everything my own way. The one horse came first over hard into me in the last turn. I knew that Memory would put him away. He's tough that way. I didn't think the horse in behind me was a super threat, and I really didn't think the 5 would reach until late in the stretch. He got me, and a good mile from him. I guess, if you're going to run it back, if you're going to go back and look at the video and say, what did you do wrong? Maybe if I take back to 6th, maybe Aaron toes me up into it. Clearly he was good enough to win. He won the race. I don't know the horse at that point. I thought the 2 was a bit of a layover. The 1 was moving up in class but racing well, and the rest of the horses were pretty good. I just didn't know how I would get from 6th to 1st. Remember, 3 steps out of the gate, I could see very obviously I was going to get away 6th. And the 2 horses that I knew I had to beat were getting away in 1-2. It just wasn't the situation I wanted to be in. As it turned out, I ended up getting beat ahead anyway, but he raced very, very good, and I think he'll come back much better next week. And if his feet were hurting him in any sort of degree, which it appears they were, by treating him and racing him next week, we'll get a clear view of, one, how much they were bothering him, and then I guess the week after that, is it something we can manage without a footwear change? So 2 good miles this morning, both very revealing. We're going to make some changes with Spitfire. We're not going to make any changes with Memory and Imagination other than have a little vet work done to both of them, and we'll see how they bounce back next week. Now tonight we have Dancing by myself. I'm eager to see how he is. I have no idea what's going to transpire tonight. I didn't get to see the schooler. I did talk to Tyler Jones very briefly the other day, and he told me he was pretty rough. I think you're going to see that. I think he's just going to have to learn. If you guys look back or think back to Gypsy Hill last year, Gypsy's got a much cleaner gait. Had a much cleaner gait and does have a much cleaner gait than Dancing by Myself, and even he was very rough very tentative the first few starts of his sophomore season once we got him qualified, and I think you're going to see much of the same with this guy. Dominic had taken some pictures of his boots behind. Now he had vet wrap over them so he could see how much he was actually interfering, which was minimal. His knee boot was not marked up that much, so minimal. If we can continue on this path where we know where his issues are, we're continuing to work on them, and the interference itself is minimal, I think you're going to see him get better and better and better. But that starting point, that foundation is tonight. So I have no idea what to expect, but I know that I trained him in 2.4, he trained in 2.5 after that, and he schooled in 2.1 last week. So any sort of mile around 59, 2 minutes will not be outside his realm. And if he trots cleanly, he should be an outside factor tonight. So we'll see how that plays out. The rest of the week, we got lots going on. Super excited about Sunday. We have Greatest Ending, Time Is On My Side, and Save America. The bulk of our order, right now anyway, the heat of our order, so to speak, are all racing on Sunday. We have horses racing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Monday that all have shots. They don't all have shots, but they all have decent shots. And we have some that will go away favorites. So interesting next 96 hours developing at the stable, and hopefully it all works out well. The weather is breaking now a little bit. It wasn't bitterly cold. It was just cold today. Tomorrow a little warmer, and so on and so forth, and up to almost a freezing point on Saturday and Sunday. So I hope you guys had a good day. We did have a pretty decent day. A second just beat ahead with Memory and Imagination. A good qualifier from Spitfire, and fingers crossed for our boy Dancing by Myself tonight. Take care.